Of you with a nervous disposition, please beware, because it's time for Lee and Herring and some reasonably scary monsters.
Back!
Did you get the beer and pizzas?
No, Stu, I didn't.
Huh?
I was in the newsagent looking at their range of chewits, right? And they had this bin there with 4 videos for £10, so I spent all the money on that.
Yeah, well, we can't watch football without beer and pizzas.
Don't care, Stu. I hate football. It's rubbish.
Stop. As male 90s comedians, we have to pretend at least to like football. Think of the money.
All right, I like football.
That's better.
Good. Cheers.
Now, what did you get?
Great, Stu. Look, I've got Jeremy Clarkson's Guide to Home Hysterectomy.
That's appalling, really.
Oh, right. What about this one? This is Walt Disney's Hercules. That costs about 15 quid in Woolies.
That isn't Walt Disney. That's just one of those ones that's been packaged to look like Walt Disney. This is Walt Dinsley's Hercules.
Oh, it'll still be the same story. What about this one? Famous people's arses. Oh. This is a look at the arses of famous people presented by Adam I.
Well, the little lad who does the video game reviews on Live and Kicking.
Yeah, that's him. And where they haven't been able to get video of the actual arses, he's done a drawing of what he imagines the arse will look like.
I like the drawing idea.
This is the best one, Stu. Look at this. Look. It's the world's 9 scariest monsters with Carol Vorderman.
And whose opinion the 9 scariest?
I don't know. In hers, probably. She might have asked Richard Whiteley what he thought as well. I don't know. But the thing is, it'll be terrifying, Stu.
It's only a U certificate, Rich. I can't believe you spent our last £10 on a sell-through video of the world's 9 scariest monsters in the opinion of Carol Vorderman.
Well, I did.
Well, I'll put it on then.
OK. God, brilliant. It's going to be... I can't wait.
Since the dawn of time, man has fought a constant battle with the monsters of his darkest imaginings. Creatures that reflect our own inner fears. Bestial buffers that keep us all in check. But from the myriad monsters we have created, who or what terrify us the most? Tonight we attempt to answer that question in the world's 9 scariest monsters.
9? Yes, Stu, the 9 scariest monsters. Just accept it, all right? It's not going to become 10 now. 9!
We begin with the alien. 9th scariest of all monsters, a new and hideous life form, striking fear into the heart of those who would travel into the greatest unknown, space. Like ex-England captain Mike Gatting.
The actual monster itself is quite a magnificent animal, with nasty front teeth and this little set that sort of pokes out from it. Of course, that very nasty tail they've got. You know, you just wonder who makes up these horrible monsters. And
it's H.R. Geiger, Mike. If Mike Gatting was that interested, I think he'd have just waited till the end of the film and looked at the credits, wouldn't you?
Stu, I was wondering, right, the alien's very scary, right? But in a fight between an alien and a predator, who do you think?
Well, it's a stupid question, Rich, right? Because the predator is an individual killing for sport, right? Whereas the alien only fights to defend the sort of species, right? Plus, they're from completely different planets and time streams, and they don't exist, right? So it's not going to happen. Stupid question.
I think it would be the alien, definitely, because of its teeth, it could bite the predator with its teeth.
From the imagination of the ancient Greeks comes the 8th scariest monster in the world. A giant freak of nature with a single eye, the Cyclops. But where does the Cyclops myth actually come from? Really Wild Show presenter Chris Packham.
The Cyclops legend is actually rooted in fact. It's just that the early observers got their facts wrong. They looked at elephant skulls, and because of a peculiarity in the skull, where there's a central hole, they presumed that was an eye socket, which it isn't. And that's how the legend arose.
Why is the Cyclops on here? There is no way that the Cyclops is one of the world's 9 scariest monsters. No.
Oh, it is, Stu.
It is not.
Oh, it is. It is. It's terrifying.
How is it terrifying?
It's only got 1 eye, Stu.
That's no good. Surely a monster with, like, loads of eyes would be more frightening.
Oh, no, Stu. No. 1 eye is the most terrifying of all. Less is more.
No, less is less, literally, on this occasion.
For some people, the myth can be more of a nightmare. Wheel of Fortune star Jenny Powell.
I've got the vision of the Cyclops picking me up by the scruff of my neck and possibly sort of plucking my limbs away from my body one by one. And then I think for the sort of finale, the grand finale, it'd end up ripping my head off in one swoop, just like that, and you'd probably hear
No,
it.
you see, I don't think the Cyclops would rip off Jenny Powell's head, Stu. He may have just one huge green eye, but he's still a man with a man's needs.
What are you saying?
I'm just saying, if I was stuck alone on that island all that time with only some sheep for company, I wouldn't be ripping Jenny Powell's head off.
Well, what are you saying? What would you do?
I'd be playing a Wheel of Fortune style game with her, you know.
The seventh scariest monster is part machine and part alien organism. Doctor Who's nemesis, the evil Dalek. The Daleks may have been harbingers of mass destruction,
For pity's sake, let me go!
but they had one fatal flaw. Spotted by the man behind Ian Beale, EastEnder Adam Woodyard.
And we will exterminate. And you know that all Doctor Who had to do was go upstairs and they were shafted.
That's gas.
Yeah.
So how do they get upstairs?
No, they get, right. If you thought about it, or if Ian Beale had just done a bit of research, right, in the episode Remembrance of the Daleks, listen, the Daleks go upstairs on a kind of hover pad that was first mentioned as long ago as the 1960s in the comic TV 21, right? So you're wrong, Ian Beale.
These were totally inhuman creatures who had no humanity, no benevolence, only malevolence.
You will show more respect for the Supreme Dalek!
Well, the Daleks, I think, were quite nasty creatures, and they weren't afraid to shoot you or kill you at the drop of a hat.
The way Mike Gatting's talking there, it sounds like he's got a personal experience of being attacked by Daleks.
Oh, didn't you know, Stu?
Huh?
Mike Gatting's entire family were killed by Daleks in front of his bearded face. It was in all the papers at the time.
Well, it's no wonder he harbours a grudge then, is it?
No, absolutely.
Furious.
The sixth scariest monster in the world, the mighty Kong. The ultimate wild man, the great ape, and for some, he had a strange sexual fear as well.
I liked King Kong, but he did scare me. And he scared me because he picked this woman up, and she was so tiny compared to him. He sort of had her in his grasp, and it was like that, but he was like that. That scared the life out of me, because I thought one day King Kong was going to come and get me.
Shall I do the obvious Bill Wyman joke here, Stu, or do you want to do it?
Do you think you could do it?
Well, okay. I don't think I can really do it either. It would make me feel cheap.
The thing about King Kong is the fact that although he's supposed to be this huge hairy monster, he's the one that gets the girl, and that's quite disturbing in itself. The fact that something as grotesque as him actually ends up being a bit of a charmer and getting what he wants.
You know, I think Hollywood are very hypocritical making that film about a giant monkey trying to force himself on a woman.
Why?
Because when I tried to pitch my idea for a film about a man played by me trying to force himself on a tiny monkey, they said it was distasteful.
You did a film about what?
A man trying to force himself on a tiny monkey, like a spider monkey, and they said that was sick.
Where did you get the idea for that from?
You know, just from observing things in life.
What things did you observe?
Well, myself, mainly.
You dallied with a monkey?
Yes.
What, and in this film, you would play you, would you?
Yeah.
And would the monkey be played by the original monkey?
No, Stu, I don't want to talk about it. We're not in contact anymore, but that monkey used me, Stu. Just don't talk, just watch the video.
Number 5, Godzilla, the oriental colossus and leveller of cities. But what is the relationship of this giant beast with Japanese culture? Chart topper Leo Sayer.
You know, with Japan, they look on it not just as total devastation of a city that happens through earthquakes and things like that, but they actually have a kind of like, a monster came and did that. So it's very much like sort of Middle Ages religious kind of feeling where everybody would blame everything on God.
Godzilla is a terrifying monster, isn't it, Stu? But it's not as terrifying as Leo Sayer, is it? Look, he's huge, isn't he, Stu? Look, he's able to hold a Godzilla in one of his hands like that. It's massive.
Which is just a toy Godzilla.
He must be about 5 miles high, Stu.
It's just a toy.
Run for the hills, everyone! Leo Sayer is coming. He'll probably step on a building with one of his feet and something and break it a bit. Or he might get helicopters flying around, they'll get caught in his hair.
It's just a toy It's a toy Godzilla in his hand. Leo Sayer's an ordinary small bloke. He's only about 5 foot tall.
Yeah, but still...
Still what?
Imagine if if he was really tall, it'd be terrifying. A giant Leo Sayer would be terrifying, wouldn't it be? How terrifying would that be?
Well, it'd be no more terrifying than an ordinary-sized Leo Sayer, just more inconvenient in the recording studio. Watch the thing.
Frankenstein's monster, fourth scariest in all the world. A monster that has caught mankind's imagination since the young Mary Shelley first conceived it 200 years ago.
Watch this, I bet they're all going to call Frankenstein's monster a Frankenstein.
Yeah, which is wrong, isn't it? Yeah. It's a Frankenstein, isn't it? That's the correct pronunciation.
No, Frankenstein was the inventor, right, not the monster.
Yeah, and you never call an invention by the name of the creator, do you?
No, you don't, no.
Oh.
400 pounds of unreasonable...
All right then, Smarty Pants, what is that?
That is Mr. Hoover's electric vacuum cleaner. Hoover is the inventor, not the machine, it's the system.
What about that? What's that
That
called?
is Wellington's rubber shoe. Wellington is the inventor, not the footwear.
All right then, I've got you now. What do you call
The
that?
system
then?
is infallible. That is the Earl of Sandwiches, egg between two slices of bread, snack. That is what that is.
It's a sandwich!
It's not sandwich is the inventor, not the food. That is how it works.
Yeah, you're not clever, you're a fool.
For Frankenstein's monster, the key to its terror is its gruesome image.
Frankenstein, and it's the man that's made of other people's bits and pieces with the bolt through his neck, and it's huge and it's got stitch marks everywhere, and the ladies seem to be attracted or by it or to it or whatever, and they get whisked away, and that's a monster for you, I suppose.
Frankenstein's monster running off with loads of women. Why is Mike Gatting being so vehement about this? It's not something I associate with Frankenstein's monster.
Didn't you know, Stu? Mike Gatting's wife ran off with the Frankenstein. It was in all the papers.
Oh, right. It's no wonder he bears a grudge. No. He's had some bad luck, hasn't he, Mike Gatting?
His wife was trying to help him get over the Daleks thing as well.
The third scariest monster is the sea, or more precisely, the monsters that inhabit its frozen depths. But what makes the ocean such a great source of fear? Wimbledon champion Pat Cash.
If you're out in the ocean, I mean, it's just, you know, what the hell's down there? I mean, it's just 10 miles down. There's got to be some monster down there. And, you know, to be out there on the ocean all by yourself and then to think, oh my God, there could be a monster. You know, it certainly plays tricks with your mind, doesn't it, being out there?
Pat Cash is right, Stu. There could be anything under the sea. There could be mermaids. That's a creature with the body of a woman but the tail of a fish. There could be mare owls.
Mare owls?
Yeah, that's a creature with the body of an owl but the tail of a fish. There might even be, we don't know, there might even be mare fish.
What, is that the body of a fish with the tail of a fish, is it?
Yeah, Stu. But it's the tail of a different fish. They're often quite difficult to spot.
As any salty old sea dog will tell you, the most terrifying monster from the deep is the giant octopus-like creature known as the Kraken. Mythology expert Dr. David Punter.
The Kraken is the Norse version of myths about what comes out of the sea.
What did he say there? Kraken?
That's not the correct pronunciation, Stu, is it? It's Kraken.
Or Kraken or something, surely.
No, actually, I think it's Kraken. I think that's like Kraken. I think that's how you say it.
Comes out of the sea because we don't know what lives beneath the surface of the sea. We can never quite see it.
Stu, I was wondering, who do you think would win in a fight between a Kraken, a Kraken and a Kraken?
Just watch the thing now, just watch it.
Number 2 in our countdown of monstrosity is the nightmare of the undead, most horribly realised in the myth of the zombie, reaching out from the mouldering grave to devour the living. Canadian disc jockey David Kidd Jensen.
The zombie is a really scary one for mankind because it's the one thing that we could become, this sort of undead creature full of, you know, rotting flesh and stench and the rest of it. And I suppose we're scared of the zombie because we could become it and end up eating and destroying each other.
Have you ever imagined being eaten by David Kidd Jensen, Stu?
No.
No, neither have I.
The zombie's decaying form reminds us of the frailty of human flesh.
I like those movies. I like watching the effects, you know, the hands falling off and, you know, the goo messing and a pus coming out and all that sort of stuff. You know, people's eyeballs falling out. I think it's quite funny. I think because I've been injured so many times, I've had so many operations that I think it's quite fascinating to have a look inside a dead body that's sort of goozing stuff.
Look at it's disgusting.
It isn't, Stu. If Pat Cash wants to dig up graves and look at the decomposing corpse of a dead person and then possibly dress that body up in an old woman's nightie and take it home and treat it as a kind of pretend friend, then that is up to him, and there is nothing this society can do to stop it.
Canrich, it's grave robbing. It's a crime.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, good, because I don't do that, so that's good. What, even if it's your own gran?
That's worse if it's your own gran.
Really? Oh, look, Stu, I wonder what the scariest monster's going to be. Come on, look, it's coming up.
Number 1, the scariest monster of all time is woman.
Women? There's no such thing.
From sirens to witches, harpies to hags, the terror induced by the female monster has transfixed men throughout the ages. But how do female monsters produce this special kind of terror? TV cook Nancy Lamb.
They are more sly and more feminine. Female monster want to whine you and twist you and get you.
Where'd you find these women, Stu? These women that want to wind you?
You have to go to the right kind of clubs.
But the worst of all the female monsters is the snake-haired horror from ancient Greek mythology, the literally petrifying Medusa. Dr. Caroline Larrington.
The female monsters who stick in the imagination, I think of the Medusa, first of all, the Gorgon with the snaky head and staring eyes. That perhaps reflects, as Freud says, the female genitalia. It's a fear of sexual attraction.
God, she is right about that, Stu, because the most terrifying horror film I saw was about this woman, right? And she had a genitalia living on her, like the alien or something, and it would kind of eat any man she came across, like plumbers or anything. God, they're terrifying. The look on their faces, they were being eaten, they were going, oh, God. Made me feel really funny.
What, scared?
Not scared exactly, Stu, just kind of funny in my tummy.
Those were the 9 scariest monsters in the world. So now you can come out from behind the sofa. But remember, before you go to sleep tonight, it might be worth looking under the bed. Good night.
God, that was brilliant, Stu. You know, we've seen some pretty terrifying monsters tonight, Stu. The Dalek. A Frankenstein.
Frankenstein's monster.
The Kraken.
The Kraken.
Nancy Lamb.
Nancy Lamb is not a monster, Rich.
Isn't she?
She's a restaurateur.
Oh, well, anyway. But I'd ask you this question, Stu. Who's really the worst monster in this so-called world of ours? Is it really the Medusa, the snake-haired temptress of olden times? Or is it another monster, Stu? Monster maybe a bit close to home. The monster we call man.
It's the Medusa with all of the snakes in her hair. That's the monster there.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Do you want to watch that Adam I Celebrity Arse video now?
Well, I've wanted to watch it all night.
Go on, stick it on, I'm desperate, go on!
Stay with us for more city-stomping, people-chomping monsters next on BBC Two. All bets are on again. It's Monster Night on BBC Two.